first Patreon question is from Benjamin, asking us, what are your thoughts on the Daniel, Haqiqatjou, and Destiny debate, if you guys have watched it? This actually made me realize that I still haven't watched it yet, which is
I
embarrassing.
watched it. No,
What did you think?
You're busy. It was long. I watched it, and I'm also halfway through Daniel's review of it. It's amazing how no matter what happens, they think like they won, no matter how badly they're defeated. You know what I mean? Like, I just think like, I mean, Destiny was like way above Daniel's level, right? And so much above Daniel's level that Daniel doesn't even recognize what just happened. And like I see his review of him, like he, even after the debate, he doesn't understand some of the points that were being made. But he thinks like he was in the right, and then when he explains why he was in the right, it's so obvious that he didn't even understand the point that was being made, right? But to me, it shows like it doesn't really matter what happens. Like there's no way for you to make it, for them to acknowledge even the slightest mistake. You know what I mean? Like you could do whatever, and they're gonna come out of it thinking that they're victorious. And his points were so bad. Like this was one of the worst debates by Daniel, I think.
Wow. Did he do the Botswana question again?
Oh my god, no, he didn't do the Botswana thing.
Thank goodness.
But he doesn't. He like one thing Daniel Haqiqatjou does is like, okay, so for people who don't know, Daniel Haqiqatjou is like a Muslim debater, and Destiny is like a liberal debater. He doesn't. Well, he's a liberal. He's a leftist, and he's an atheist. He doesn't have that many. He doesn't have much experience debating Islam. But this debate was not just about Islam. It was about defending liberalism against Islam, right? And Destiny did a good job because he understands, even if he doesn't understand Islam that much, he doesn't need to, right? Islam is so ridiculous that you don't really need to understand it that much to be able to recognize how ridiculous it is. But he understands liberalism, and it was so easy for Destiny to see that Daniel Haqiqatjou is misrepresenting what liberalism stands for. Like, it's such like Daniel Haqiqatjou like has this like cartoonishly evil caricature of liberalism, right? That he just puts in place instead of like attacking liberalism, he just like creates this monster that has nothing to do with liberalism, and he attacks that instead. And as soon as he does that, it's just so obvious that that's what he's doing. You don't. So I mean, like, what are you talking about? That's not liberalism, right? Like, one thing that he keeps thinking that he's doing, Daniel Haqiqatjou like keeps pretending like liberalism is trying to remove all forms of like hierarchy and all forms of promote all form, like make everything equal, right? And Destiny was like, what are you talking about? Maybe you're talking about anarchism, right? Liberalism doesn't advocate that. But it's funny because that point was made to Daniel, and then in the post-debate review of it, he was like, what is Destiny saying? Liberalism doesn't say that. Well, like, dude, that's what you were saying, and Destiny corrected you, and now you're acting. Yeah, and now he's acting like Destiny was like suggesting something about liberalism and like, how is he saying this? Isn't Destiny a liberal? How is he misrepresenting liberalism? Dude, you were saying that, he corrected you, you idiot. Like, he's like, this is what I'm saying. Like, why even talk to you? Like, if you want to act like that, right? There's another thing. Oh, like, here's an example of what he does with liberalism. He's like, you know what liberalism teaches you? Liberalism teaches you that if the government comes in and forces you to put you into a machine, that you get like happy, like you're hooked into a machine, and you're like experience pleasure, and you don't know that you're in this machine, and you're like in this like virtual metaverse, like, and then you experience maximum pleasure. Like, if the government, based on the tenets of liberalism, if the government can do that, because liberalism is based on utilitarianism, and utilitarianism is supposed to maximize pleasure, then based on liberalism, based on a liberal philosophy, it will make sense for a government to come in and put you into this machine by force so that you could experience maximum pleasure. As long as once you're in this virtual fake world, you don't know that you're in a fake world, because you don't know, it doesn't matter, because you're experiencing maximum pleasure, right? And it's like, that's liberalism. And it was like, and I think Destiny pointed this out. I don't know if he did or not. It's like, the word liberal and liberalism kind of contradicts the government being able to force you into this machine.
Kind of stands for like the liberty part of
it.
Yeah,
like, I think you're missing. It's got liberal as in the government can't. Has to respect
infringe
your
on
liberty.
your
liberty.
liberty.
Like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't teach that. Like, so he can't attack what liberalism like is. So he has to create this monster that is not actually what it is. Like, he was arguing. It was like, oh, he was like, liberalism. Okay, first of all, liberalism doesn't teach you this. This is like, but technology will get us there. It was like, oh, liberalism will get us to a place where a woman don't have to be pregnant, and you could have like children outside of the womb. And I was like, based. Like, that's I mean, I like that, but like, that's great, that's progress, but that's not liberalism, that's just technology. Right?
No, that's a huge thing. He conflates modernity with transhumanism and then liberalism all the time.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, first of all, you get to do that, and you get to, if you have the technology, you don't have to use it. And he was like, yeah, all this technology is just freeing up women so they don't have to be tied up into a family, and like the invention of the washing machine, so that like, wait, like, he was like,
is he against the washing machine now?
No, like, there was a part, like, he was like, wait, why are you against the washing machine? Because it's like frees up women to be able to do other things. He's like, yeah,
I want them back in the river on the road.
No, he was suggesting that all this technology is freeing up women to be able to pursue their careers, and now they're not limited. They're not dependent on a family, right? He was like liberal, like, he was teaching like, oh, the modernity brings you the the police, and now women don't have to rely on their husbands for protection, and now they get to go wherever they want. They get to go to like Paris or London and wherever they want, and they don't have to rely on their husband for their security. I was like, what? So
doesn't that sound kind of nice to the husband too? Like, you can.
I was like, first of all, I don't, Danielle, do you think like you get to protect, like, if there was no police, do you think you would stand a chance against a mob? Like, do you really want to be the only thing between your wife and a mob? Like, I think like you should be a little bit grateful for having a police. Second of all, I'm pretty sure under your version of an Islamic state, there will be the protection of your wife will not be dependent on just you. Right? Like, I think there will be other people involved, even under an Islamic state, right? Like, what are you talking about? Like, Islamic state that you're advocating for also has like I don't know, what are you talking about? You're against police because it makes women too free? It was so unbelievably stupid. And one thing I'm upset about is that Destiny asked him is like, if in Islam, by what age do you get to marry, by what age do you get to marry a woman? Like, what age do the woman has to be? Like, and Daniel kind of, it shows like even Daniel, who's like supposed to be this person that is so upfront about being unapologetic about what Islam represents.
He brags about it all the time,
knows,
especially when it comes to LGBT stuff.
But this part of Islam, he knows how bad that is, right? Because you know what he said, right? So Destiny specifically asked about age of marriage for a woman, right? And a lot of people think, what is the age of marriage in Islam? Tell me in the live chat. Because a lot of people think like it's 9, but that's the age that's not the age of marriage. That's the age of consummation. Okay, Muhammad
I
married
know.
Aisha.
I know.
Muhammad married Aisha by age 6, right? Um, anyway, so but Daniel didn't say that. Okay, Daniel is like, yes, people are saying 6. Oh wow, good job, 6. People know. Okay, so somebody's saying there is no age. I mean, technically, Muhammad is a role model. So, anyways, but Daniel said like puberty. Yeah, he didn't answer the question. Like you can consummate. I think he said you can consummate the marriage by puberty. Like, so he didn't want to give the number, and he was just hoping that, like people's like I think, okay, maybe I shouldn't actually, because I can't read minds, so I shouldn't say that. Like he didn't give you a number. He just like, I think there's an understanding of other people when they think puberty, they don't think 9. Okay, and he talked about, I think he mentioned the age of that consummation of marriage is allowed, and he didn't even mention the age. He just said puberty. Okay, and Destiny didn't press. I wish Destiny did press on him, because it's very on a platform of Destinies that big. I wish it went on record for Daniel to say that you could consummate the marriage by 9. Okay, like I wish Destiny pressed on that, and he didn't, because it's, so that was a missed opportunity, because I wanted more people to see what Islam represents. However, one, so that didn't get out. I mean, if he was pressed on it, he would have probably give you the number, right? Because he doesn't want to act like he's like shies away from Islam, for what Islam represents. But he did, even though that part didn't get out, the part that did get out, and I'm so glad so many people saw that, is that he defended slavery, right? And Destiny was like, if I remember correctly, I don't know if I do, he was like, I think like it was so obvious. Like, I'm so glad that to an audience that big, it was apparent, like he's like, it came out that slavery is okay in Islam, right? So we got that admission out, so that's good. One thing I didn't like about, okay, so one criticism of Destiny. I know he didn't mean it like this, but it came across like that. It seemed like he was more concerned about how Islam treats Christians than atheists, right? Because I think, like, I don't know why, like, but it just seems like even atheists just have this understanding, like, I don't know, there's this weird atheist lives not mattering perception. I don't know. There was a part where like they was talking about how Islam treats atheists, and then like Destiny just shifted it to focusing on Christians. And I don't, maybe I'm reading too much into this, but to me, because I'm very sensitive about this, because I always think like atheists are the least likely people to be cared for, like when it comes to oppression, and discrimination and mistreatment. And I think like even atheists treat atheists like that, like even when they, other people's mistreatment, like Jewish people's mistreatment, Christians mistreatment, Hindus mistreatments, Muslims mistreatments. I mean, I'm not saying those people's mistreatments shouldn't get highlighted. I just think that they always get priority over atheists being mistreated for their atheism, right? And I just felt like Destiny just did that, maybe without knowing that he's doing that, and it just like it bothered me. But that's only because I'm like, that's because I'm very sensitive about it, and I'm like notice it very much when I see it. So, but that did really bother me. But I don't know, maybe that's not what he was doing. I am going to maybe like do a review of sections of it on my personal channel on Armin Navabi with Vikram. So for people who don't know, patrons get to have top higher tier patrons get to have meetings with me, right? Live on air. And we're going to go and like highlight certain parts of this debate between Destiny and Daniel. And maybe I will highlight that part just because that's the only part. That's the only part that I was like a little. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. I'll see what Vikram thinks. So yeah, go subscribe to my personal channel, the Armin Navabi channel. Maybe we'll do a review of it over there. Yeah.
It's interesting that Daniel shied away from being fully transparent about the age of marriage thing, because when you talk to him and Imam Tawhidi, like, he was very clear and stood hard on that ground, like 10 toes down, like, was very explicit about his beliefs and why he thinks it's correct and how modernity like ruined this thing. So he must have just been very sensitive to the audience, because that was him going toe to toe with a scholar. Like,
well, because you're talking to Tawhidi, you're talking to somebody who knows what your ideas represent, right? Maybe this is like maybe he thought like I don't know. I can't read people's minds, but maybe he was like unconsciously knowing that this is not an audience that is ready for that, right? Or maybe he kind of respected Destiny, and he wanted like, I think he like looked up to him, because I think he looked him up and he was like saw his debate skills and he was impressed by it, and he wanted to be like, maybe he like wanted to be admired, like he wanted to not, maybe he was hoping something better to come out of it. That's why he started the whole debate with a gift.
Okay, that is fake as fuck, because he was posting photos of himself. I don't know if you saw this on his channel, on his community tab, like selfies of him like waiting for Destiny before the debate. We'll see if he shows up, because apparently like he was a little bit late. So it was him like empty chair, like selfie, look at this empty chair, like he can't take it, I guess, blah blah blah. I was like, are you kidding me, Daniel? This is so childish.
No, I think he was like really looking out for, like, I don't know. I don't want to actually guess his. Never mind. Okay. Anyways, we're gonna do a deeper dive.
Love the photo of last thing on this. I did love the photo of him shaking hands with David Wood at the event. That was hilarious.
I didn't see those.
I sent it to you.
Oh yeah, actually, you're right. You did send it.
And David put the caption, "The handshake that shook the world," and like the expression on David Wood's face and Daniel Haqiqatjou's face as they're shaking hands was hilarious.
Anyways, watch the debate and tell me what you think after you watch it. Yeah.
Atheist Republic needs your help. We've been the target of many legal attacks by Hindu nationalists ever since our founder, Armin Navabi, blasphemed against Hindu deities. We have retained legal counsel to help us defend our access to our community in India. We have started a fundraiser that will help us afford to tackle many legal issues, including judicial harassment and censorship. Whatever you can contribute will go a long ways in helping us in this fight. Link in the description below.